Yeah, thanks for the recording. Yeah, let's start with current updates. So, never mind, like always.
Hey guys, I'm sorry I'm sick, so it's hard to talk. So I will just give a quick update on the DevNet. So we're aiming to automate the actual contracts deployment for the DevNet, but we have run into issues with the deployer contract. And if today as well we can't be able to figure that out, we'll go with truffle deployment, but that complicates the DevOps task. On the other hand, we no longer want to waste any more time on a deploy contract, so we'll come up with a solution today, tomorrow. I just want to stress that the actual contracts work as expected, as I already told on the last call. So the issue is with deployment automation only. And that's all from DevNet perspective.
Okay, that was fast. Sorry if I missed something in the notes. Anyways, Aragon?
I'm on holiday this week, so I kind of I haven't been able to join the DevNet yet because because I'm on holiday. I can try joining it next week, or maybe if we are already progressing with Chiado, so we might skip the DevNet and join Chiado directly. No, like for withdrawals.
When will you be back? So maybe I
On Monday. I'm back on Monday.
Yeah, because I think it would be quite useful to join this DevNet as soon as possible at this point.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I'll try it on Monday or Tuesday.
Awesome. Geth, I don't know if Guillaume is here.
Yeah. Sorry for the noise. I'm in the street. So last this week, this Monday, I got the data from Tanishq like a couple of weeks back, but I managed to rebuild the tree and I to calculate the snapshot from it. So now I just need to complete importing blocks, and that should not take too long anymore. And when this is done, I should be able to follow the chain. So no demo, nothing demo ready yet, but it should be there soon.
Can you just remind me why you have to import the blocks from undetermined nodes and can't sync directly?
Because for whatever reason, sync doesn't work, and we didn't want to debug the snap sync directly. I mean, it feels, and so far it has proven to be the simpler solution.
Okay, and after that, once you have a node running, can other nodes kind of snap sync to that one somehow, or how would it work for new?
Well, yeah. So once I managed to get the thing running, I full sync the network up until it's caught up with it, and when this is done, all that remains to be yes, it will start serving SnapSync itself, and hopefully I can get Geth to SnapSync from itself, from other instances of Geth, and as a result, be able to debug the SnapSync with Nethermind. Like something goes wrong, we haven't figured it out, but yeah, we want to have something to compare against.
Okay, good. So I guess it kind of works like the Aragon on Chiado thing then. Okay, perfect. So on the CL side, I don't know, Guillaume, if you have any updates. I have tried to get it to run again. So there was this Capella fork epoch thing. I set it to very late slots, and that didn't work. So I'm trying now to build it locally, but yeah, I haven't time to finish that up yet. I don't think Guillaume has an update regarding this.
Okay, sorry, I don't know why I could not unmute. I don't know what goes wrong in your case, but yeah, I will investigate. I just need to get back to my desk to figure out what goes wrong.
Yeah, no worries. I work on it as well, but I've had a lot of different things to do in the meantime. Okay, I saw someone said update on Telegram. Okay, perfect. Let me just read that. Well, everyone here can read it, so I won't. Gateway?
Yeah, so basically we provisioned the region Chiado. So we're testing it right now, and if everything goes right, we can provision bridges on the mainnet. Also, we right now, since I think the beginning of the week, I think it was this week already, or We are serving half of the requests on the official RPC, officialrpc.gnosischain.com, and 75% of requests, correct me if I'm wrong, on the rpc-chain.net. So we have this. We also, I think, figured out what was wrong with or rather, we cannot reproduce anymore the issues that the graph has with the archival nodes of Aragon. So I think that's they can try it again normally and see if they can reproduce it themselves. Other than that, I think we helped to, I don't know if it was in the previous update, but we helped to debug and fix this Aragon not syncing anymore thingy with the wrong tree root, and then it being stuck after that. Again, it was partially related to Nethermind producing invalid blocks, but also partially related that unwind of these blocks was breaking Aragon on Gnosis Chain. So we kind of provided some debug information on that. And regarding the DevNet, will there be another one? Because I know that it's too late for us to join with validators if it's already or it's clunky to say the least. To if the DevNet is already provisioned, but or is it the only one and then it's gonna be Chiado for withdrawals? What's the plan on that? Because I heard about the second DevNet, but I don't know the details.
Yeah. So there's a plan to spin up a second DevNet because the first, well, the current one is, well, basically it was supposed to be internal for Nethermind, and there's not a lot of keys. So as far as I know at this point is that there's supposed to be a second one with more keys so that Gnosis, Gateway, Aragon, Nethermind, basically everyone can run their own keys. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Ruben.
So the situation is like this. So now we have to spin up a DevNet and then deploy the actual contracts manually, update the chain spec, and restart the network. But we're aiming to automate this process just to spin up a DevNet and it works out of the box. But we run into the issues, and so trying to figure that out. But on the other hand, we don't want to waste too much time on this. So the plan is to come up with any solution today, tomorrow, just to not waste any time.
Yeah, sure. On the second DevNet, how many keys are you envisioning? Because we'll have to, I think, provision them, to avoid bridging DevNet tokens from some Ethereum chain. We probably should figure out how many keys do we want from the start.
I'm not really sure. That's probably a question to Carlos. He's not on the call, but I will ask him to.
There's Chiado was what's it, 10,000, I think, keys overall, 3.3 thousand each party. That's Chiado. So it was kind of. I think that was. I don't remember who was playing back and forth. I remember that 40,000 was too much for a couple of entities to run. It was unstable. Then 1,000 is a little bit too little. So it's.
Yeah, so we said at the beginning of the month was between 1,000 and 10,000 keys.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So we have 4 entities and 2.5 thousand per entity. So it sounds okay. And as long as 3 of them are online, I think we'll finalize regardless. Okay. That's cool.
And,
one more thing that I forgot about is that I'm also looking at it's tangential related to Gnosis Chain itself at the Oli bridge thingy. I'm having a call tomorrow with the guys, with the developers, fiat to blockchain bridge, basically. So yeah, that also takes a bit of our time. So we are not as focused on withdrawals as could have been otherwise.
Sorry, I didn't catch the bridge name.
It's for the cards. I mean, you have this credit cards that's connected to the Gnosis safe that you can pay with, like a Visa card. The project is called Oli.
Oh, okay, the Oli, okay.
Yeah. So we are also looking into kind of. I'm not sure if we can call it an ownership, but at least looking at the code of or tomorrow I'll do a walkthrough of the code of this bridge that they use right now, because they're just not too many people understand how it works, and probably it needs some optimizations and yada yada yada. So it's kind of gets the Visa call, then does some magic on the blockchain, and then responds, and that's what makes the start actually work. So yeah, that's what we're also looking at.
Awesome.
And
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry. One more thing, we also provided archival Ethereum RPC access to bridge validators, Gnosis bridge validators, because it needed archival nodes. So we're also supporting this, and they're using Gateways RPC.
Awesome, thank you.
And it's Ethereum. It's not like Gnosis archival, because Gnosis archival, it's another story that's already there. But yeah, it's Ethereum. Thank you.
Perfect. I guess there's something more for DevNet then. We're waiting for Nethermind to spin up the new one and set up the tuning. So we'll see about that, I guess, on Monday. I'll ping a few of you to make sure we get some progress on this. Yeah, regarding tests, Max, are you here? No, I don't think so.
Well, I can give a short update. It's because to be able to adjust Hive test for Gnosis, it's actually a lot of work. So next week we are meeting. The Aragon team is meeting in Lugano. So Max and I are going to spend some time discussing Gnosis chain and what's different between Gnosis and mainnet. So he's working on this task, but it'll probably it's not a quick one. It'll take a few weeks, I imagine. Oh yeah, maybe a month or 2 or 3. Yeah, but hopefully, like about, I don't know, a month or 2. And it will be a gradual process. I mean, we can adapt some Hive tests, starting with withdrawals to Gnosis, and then extend, check the other tests and so on, and then write Gnosis specific tests. And so it's a big task. Yeah.
And you're meeting who, did you say?
So it will be an Aragon team meeting. It's just easier to discuss such big things in person, and we just use this opportunity to spend some quality time on Gnosis chain, because Max, it's a new task for him. He hadn't worked on Gnosis chain previously.
Okay, perfect. Good to know. Okay, so regarding hiring, we talked last week about, well, finding a QA and DevOps. In the meantime, I think, yeah, we had a meeting with Nethermind, and so they agreed to take this on. So to, well, do QA and DevOps, yeah, to find someone and to, yeah, teach them, I guess, or whatever. I think it was probably a new DevOps in working with Carlos, and then some QA. I don't remember exactly. Maybe if Nethermind, you could comment on this.
I don't have any comments. Need to check with Daniel what's going on with hiring. But I know that we started something. But yeah.
So I think the role is defined, and we are looking for people to engage and be able to engage in those roles. But I'm not sure what's the current progress. Daniel is handling that.
Okay, thank you. I'll ping him then to check for progress. Okay, and to end this, I guess we were made aware. I guess, I mean, it's been like this for always, but there's kind of an issue with Gnosis Chain right now, which which is that it consumes a lot of bandwidth, basically. So running 128 keys, or at least upwards of 64, I guess, consumes a lot of bandwidth. We're talking kind of around 14 terabytes a month. which of course is quite problematic for home stakers, at least in some countries. And well, we've just started today in the meeting right before to kind of discuss this and potential solutions. Yeah, Marek, if you have.
Yeah, one potential idea might be reduce transaction pool. So we have config that defines transaction pool size, but well, not sure. Or peering. So we could experiment with these values. If we reduce amount of peer, we should have less traffic, I guess.
Is it like the traffic? Is it on the EL side or is it on the CL side? Because if it's about home staking, like
it's on the CL side.
Oh, the CL.
Okay. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought because the attestations probably need to fly around, right? And you have multiple validators. You might be like in sync committee and
right. Well,
like
the thing is that right now, to be profitable, kind of running at one key doesn't make sense because the hardware would be way too expensive just to run one key. So you have to run maybe around 64. I mean, I haven't done the calculations, but let's say around that. At which point you're registering to every subnet anyways. So you're kind of taking on the whole traffic.
Yeah. To be completely frank, when I did my estimations about Ethereum staking, I calculated that even in, let's say, if you live in Western Europe and with like relatively high prices kind of country, you need to have at least 100 validators to make it your full-time work, full-time job, right? That's on Ethereum. Means that to just get by, like even on Ethereum, you probably need 10 and more. And good luck staking that if you are in the developing world, like 10 times 32 ETH. So it's it's a little bit difficult how to make it profitable for home stakers, but
right. Well, let's not talk immediately about like replacing your job with staking, but even just like having keys that produce more than the electricity kind of they consume and the hardware, that would be a good start, I think. And if you're running like 50 keys, which means $5K, I guess, on Gnosis, around that at least, then you basically already register to connect to all the subnets, meaning there is no scaling anymore, right? So if every home staker is on every subnet, then the entirety of the CL staking promises, I guess, or advantages are just done, and that's quite problematic. So yeah, we've just been talking very quickly, I mean, for a few minutes about maybe increasing the minimal deposit and then increasing the rewards based on that. But it's at the very beginning of research about that. It was just mostly just an update because this call, I guess, is more focused on the execution layer side and not on the CL.
I think both, like to be honest, like because Zapline is here or something.
Right, yeah, that's with whom we had this conversation right before this call, and why we joined a bit late.
yeah, and I wonder what's the current API on the Gnosis if it's not like
15.5, I think.
15.5, right? So we have $5,000 or like $10,000 for simplicity. We will have, what was it, 1,500 a year? Or something like that. Okay. But yeah, like running 100 validators, I think it's easy on relatively modest hardware. I think up to like 1,000, it could be on a home. But then yeah, bandwidth is an issue for sure.
Yeah, so anyway, that's just an idea for now. We really have nothing concrete regarding this yet, so we'll talk a bit more about it, I guess, next week, if we have any news.
But how is it technically implemented? Then it means that, let's say right now you send one GNO, you get 32 mGNO, and you kind of replace this to get like 16 mGNO per GNO or something like that, or something else.
Yeah, kind of. So we would upgrade the deposit contract, and well, it would be a bit complicated, but probably it's possible by adopting a deposit and withdrawal contracts. But yeah, that's really, as I said, nothing concrete at all about this. So I was just exposing the problem.
Yeah, but I'm actually quite curious of the like home staking, how to say, profitability in general, because it's very easy to get into home staking on Gnosis. Like it's very cheap, but
Yes. Well, we'll research this next week a bit more, and then when we have news, I'll talk about it for sure here. Yeah. So
thank you.
I guess we're nearing the end. Does anyone have any other comments or questions?
Is there any desired timeline on when Chiado should enable withdrawals, or anything like in mind regarding that?
Yeah, it's a good question. What are the different client teams' feelings about this? How ready do you think we are?
Ruben?
I would say like 10 days to 2 weeks, maybe. Maybe less. Just trying to be not don't want to be too optimistic here.
To schedule the fork, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
I want to ask Aragon, sorry, Andrew, to put you on the spotlight, but we run a lot of Aragon nodes, so we definitely want to make sure that nothing is happening until Aragon is ready with withdrawals, for sure, on Gnosis.
Well, the code is ready, but it's not tested. But we can. The difference with mainnet code, withdrawals code, is minimal. So I don't expect any big issues for specifically for Gnosis. I think in terms of Chiado, we can schedule it reasonably early.
But by the way, do we already have Aragon working fine on Chiado? Because
Yes. I think Johan and Alexei fixed Chiado. Yes, it should be working.
Oh, cool. Then we should run it on Chiado as well. Okay. Great.
Yeah, I think Chiado is a relatively smallish network, so shouldn't be that bad. I would be more interested if we should schedule at least an inter-team DevNet as soon as possible.
So that's what we're currently working on, right? So that's the DevNet that Ruben is trying to bring up, and it's kind of having issues with the deploy contract. But as soon as we have that ready, so Aragon could join that DevNet, and then we can start talking about going for Chiado.
Awesome.
So it's the target launch date for the new DevNet. Well, would next Monday, so in 5 days, be reasonable?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's do this Monday then. I'll ping everyone to make sure that Aragon can join and that we have all the configs and validator keys ready.
It's better to do it on Tuesday because I'm back on Monday and I need a whole day to catch up. So I can probably translate the config from Nethermind's format and everything on Monday. So yeah, but it's better to actually launch it on Tuesday.
Yeah, I second that. Usually Tuesday for me is a better day to monitor the DevNet.
Okay, well, let's do it on Tuesday then. 1 second. So Martin says,
but sorry, but if the configs are ready by Monday, that would be great because then I can work on it. Just the launch day we will be on.
That's what we're trying to achieve. Yeah.
Okay. Or better, or I guess we can launch it whenever, but because you need Aragon nodes. Do you want Aragon nodes to join as validators?
I mean, we want to try. for
Yeah.
sure. We don't
Okay.
expect them to be like super efficient or anything, but at least to try to run them and see if it falls apart or not.
Okay, fine.
Awesome. So Mondays, configs on Monday and target and launch, sorry, on Tuesday. Anything else regarding the devnets? I think, yeah, that should be all of it.
Yeah, also add a note internally that we should figure out what's the deployment setup in Chiado and align it to Gnosis so that when we do the fork, it reflects reality.
What do you mean by deployment setup?
Well, I'm not sure if we deployed the actual deposit contract, and if like the token setup is the same as the one we have in Gnosis or in mainnet, or we did something else.
I mean, I know that you definitely can provision a new validator in Shadow, like right now, if you want. Like we did it, like a couple of us, like I think Giacomo did it, I did it, some of our QA did it. Like so, there is definitely a deposit contract in there that works for like pre-withdrawals configuration. So
yes, there is.
that
I've done it recently as well, so it's no issue. We can get GNO, we can spin up new validators, and it's the same thing as on mainnet with the kind of MGNO thing and all of that. So that should not be an issue. Okay, so regarding so Martin thinks we should talk a bit about the XDAI as a base fee token.
Yeah, I can comment on it. So yeah, I think it's absolutely nothing that is actionable right now, but just wanted to kind of quickly mention it, that it is a topic. So yeah, I guess the last weekend showed again the problem. So the problem is Gnosis on the one hand wants to be a very decentralized chain and a very resilient chain. But then it turns out that our base token is currently essentially wrapped US dollar bank deposits, because that's kind of what USDC is. USDC is wrapped, yeah, US bank deposit, and DAI has kind of at this point, turned into wrapped USDC. So for those of you who don't know, but DAI initially started as this stablecoin where kind of the coin was derived from Ether, but right now at this point, 60 to 70% of all DAI is actually essentially wrapped USDC. So long story short, at this point, XDAI is obviously kind of just bridge DAI. So over 3 hops, XDAI is essentially, yeah, very affected by US banking, problems, potential US banking problems. So that is somewhat in conflict with the idea to say we want to have a very resilient, decentralized network that's not kind of tied to one geographic region, or kind of, also this idea of credible neutrality. So there is a discussion, or there has come up the discussion of should we change the base token? And one approach would be to say, well, we just use GNO and kind of use the model that most chains use. Personally, I think that's I always liked the idea to have kind of a stablecoin as a base token. So I don't really like that. But even if we would say we want to do it, then yeah, it's extremely complicated. And I think Daniel, maybe Daniel, you can also comment on. Maybe you can comment first on why GNO is why that transition is very complicated, and then after that I can give an outlook what I think could be done instead. But again, it's all very early research state.
I actually have a thought, like, and what's
Mhm.
like because our validators are essentially rewarded in GNO for block production, but then in DAI for transaction processing right now, right? Post merge.
Mhm. Yeah.
And essentially, there is still an auction on the transaction fees, right? It's kind of auction-based system. So, how really exposed, how really bad is it for, let's say DAI depends, and DAI is right now half of DAI.
Yeah.
It's going to be a
Yeah.
disaster for lots of DeFi, but for transaction fees to be twice cheaper on Gnosis
Right.
Chain with
It's
like
not really.
EIP 1559 together,
Yeah.
it's not really the end of the world, I would say. Like to me.
No, 100%, 100%. And I think that's also important to understand. Even yeah, as you said, even if DAI would lose whatever, even 90% of its value, it would hurt users. It would hurt everyone who holds XDAI. But I agree. I think it would not really it would not really kind of compromise the integrity of the chain, and also not of the fee market. I mean, but right now blocks are not full anyhow. But if blocks were full and there would be a fee market, then, well, if the value of DAI goes down, then simply the absolute then the essentially fees would just rise. You would then probably have to pay 10 XDAI for something you would previously only need to pay 1 before. So I generally agree. The good thing is XDAI is less critical for the integrity of the chain than people might think. But still, I still think, kind of from a symbolic point of view, or from a narrative and symbolic point of view, kind of saying this is your base token, of course, somehow gives kind of some special treatment to this token. And from that point of view, I feel like it's a questionable choice to say we want to be this credible, neutral, as decentralized as possible chain, but then our base token is something that's quite close to something very centralized.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like, but then we can, but it's possible to like still use like a less centralized stable, right? Stable coin
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's also my proposal. But maybe let's first, because it comes up all the time. So all the time people say, why not use GNO? And I think we can at least, or I mean, there are all kind of, I think it's a whole different discussion whether it's advantageous or not. But maybe Daniel can shortly share some points on why it's technically very challenging, and maybe not impossible, but at least.
So I think, Philippe, if you could click on the thought experiment and just open it up. I will say that, I mean, you guys know more on the technical side. I just did some brief brainstorms of ways to do it. So involve like swapping the state tries, or force converting GNO. And that's a little bit that I don't have sufficient technical expertise. But is there actually possible to have different opcodes and different opcodes for XDAI native transfers and GNO native transfers? But I think my perspective was actually more just dealing with the community and working with them through a transition like that. And I basically concluded that it was impossible and it would kill all of DeFi, which I'm quite sure you guys would have drawn the same conclusion after like a minute or so. But I think if the one thing that I want to just caveat is that I'm not the most as deep into the core dev stuff as you guys are. And if there's a way to do it, I think we should look through and just see if there's indeed a way to do it, either by having a different state try or specialized opcodes and transaction types. But in my humble opinion, I thought the most, actually one of the good reasons to move to GNO as a native token is that it reduces the diff between Gnosis and Ethereum. And I think we are only adding to the diff between Gnosis and Ethereum with the withdrawals. But I think the havoc that it will wreak on the community is just not tenable. Yeah, that's all.
Cool. Then maybe I mean, this can yeah, or maybe kind of let's I quickly can share what I think can be a reasonable approach. That is exactly what Igor suggested, to say, well, we keep it stable coin, but we are just trying to make it more decentralized. And again, very early research, and I think probably the next step is to maybe even have an open research call to say everyone who is interested in decentralized stablecoins is invited to make a kind of proposal to us, or kind of for to Gnosis Chain, because we are kind of looking for a solution. But one solution that certainly would be possible, and I also would kind of want to comment here that I think, in principle, I do like, I do like the Maker approach, and I think, I mean, they certainly started with the vision to have a decentralized stablecoin. So I think we should certainly also kind of, or we will certainly also reach out or kind of be in contact with the Maker team. I think kind of within Maker, there are certainly also kind of conflicting, or there are certain, I mean, there are some people who are pushing in the direction of, well, DAI should become more decentralized again, and there are others who are fine, or say kind of it's fine to be this more centralized approach to it. So one approach that would certainly work is that we essentially create a fork of Maker on Gnosis, and it's in the same way that Maker accepts collateral, or in the same way that Maker accepts USDC, and you can essentially deposit USDC and you get one DAI out of it. In the same way, we could start by kind of accepting DAI bridged from mainnet as a collateral to then kind of create XDAI. And with that move, we would essentially kind of just have the same system as right now. The good thing would be that we could still then start to in parallel issue XDAI through other ways, and the other way would be kind of to issue it against crypto collateral on Gnosis Chain. So it would be possible to say we still have the approach that you can get DAI by kind of XDAI by just bridging DAI from mainnet, but alternatively you can also kind of just have native GNO on Gnosis Chain, so it's a native token, but you have just GNO on Gnosis Chain. And also in a previous call, I think we discussed that we can do a transition to make to kind of transition kind of the source of truth for GNO to Gnosis Chain. Anyhow, so you can essentially borrow then against that GNO XDAI, and that would essentially then be XDAI that's native to Gnosis Chain and kind of unaffected from DAI. And then essentially, then it gives us the flexibility to say if things kind of don't go well, or kind of go more in the centralized direction on DAI, it gives the flexibility to say we kind of reduce the amount, or we kind of set limits of the amount of XDAI that can flow into the system from DAI, and we kind of try to increase the percentage of XDAI that's natively generated and created on the chain. Or if not, and kind of we feel like it's fine with DAI and so on, then it also leaves the option open to kind of still stick essentially to the old system and have most or all of the DAI simply, or of the XDAI simply. But again, don't need to go into all the details. Again, early research. Just wanted to give you kind of short heads up that this is a topic, and we will be looking into ways of how to make DAI or XDAI more decentralized. Questions or comments on that one? Okay, then Philip, are there any other points on the list, or?
Yeah, that's not. Thank you, Martin. But yeah, if there's questions or comments regarding any other topic, please go ahead. If not, we can stop here.
One super small remark. I mentioned it today to Lion earlier already. Can you scroll up there? I think there was the research on the 5-second block time. Again, absolutely not important right now. But and Lion told me kind of changing the slot time is very difficult, but there would be an interesting advantage of either having a 6-second slot time or a 4-second slot time. And the advantage would be that we could then set the chain up that it's essentially in sync with Ethereum. So if we would do 6-second slots, we would exactly have, or we could set it up in such a way that we would always have exactly one block in parallel with Ethereum and kind of always one in between. And obviously with 4 seconds, we would have 3 blocks per Ethereum block slots. And the advantage of that, or the potential advantage of that, is that you could some cross-chain interactions, or there are, again, all early, but there are concepts where it is quite advantageous to be able to express you either want to do 2 transactions. I mean, essentially, we want to do a transaction on Gnosis depending on another transaction of Ethereum, and with block builders, and there are ways to express that. So long story short, if we ever change the slot time, and again, Lion told me this is unfortunately very hard to do, so maybe we don't do it, but if we do it, then we should consider this idea to say we choose a time that's dividable by 12.
But even then, we should check the Genesis time to make sure they are aligned.
Yeah,
which
they
may not be.
Correct. I mean, I assume kind of it's just full minutes, but I don't know. I mean, I assume kind of slot times on Ethereum are currently the full minute, then 12 seconds after the full minute, 24 seconds, and so on, and then eventually. And I assume on Ethereum, on Gnosis Chain, it's the same. Kind of, it starts at the full minute, and then kind of every 5 seconds. So I think probably every full minute we have a slot that's in sync. Lukasz.
Actually, I'm kind of confused how this could be a benefit, because let's say we are trying to get at exactly same time. What does this give us? Like, we cannot check if something went on mainnet or either way on Gnosis. We have to wait for the propagation time. How does it benefit us? I don't get it.
Right.
I would say the more beneficial one is going like, in turns. Now Gnosis, now mainnet, Gnosis mainnet, right? Because we can check each other latest block easier, faster.
I mean, first, I think your second point, even that we would get if we have a 6 second block time, then we know we always have a block that's kind of in between. So we kind of always we know kind of there's Ethereum block, and then kind of there will be a Gnosis block, and then, well, I mean, obviously we would then also have a Gnosis block, but we still have this block that's always in between two. Ethereum blocks, and then essentially this block can kind of react on something it has seen previously, and kind of can do something before the next Ethereum block is happening. That's point number 1. Point number 2, why it is important, or well, not important, but why it could be beneficial to have them exactly at the same time. That benefit you would get if you have block builders that are connected to each other. So you could have block builders that probably you would even need validators that you yeah, if you had a validator on Gnosis Chain who would be connected to a validator or block builder on Ethereum, then the block builder or the validator on Gnosis Chain could essentially, already get the essentially already know the Ethereum block that will be created, and thanks to stuff like succinct, we know that eventually, I mean, we won't have the proof. We won't have the proof immediately on Gnosis Chain that this is the correct Ethereum. That this is the correct Ethereum block, but eventually we will get the block. So you could design contracts that already optimistically assume a specific, or you kind of that make a transaction on Gnosis Chain, assuming that this will be the Ethereum block, and you can have mechanisms that this transaction will revert, or someone will get a penalty if this ends up not to be the Ethereum block. But so essentially it's relevant for some, I guess, cross-chain arbitrage, but it only becomes relevant if there is if builders, block builders, or validators of both chains kind of synchronize.
So until there's like a single slot finality on Ethereum, I don't see much gains.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think we are, practically speaking, we are not that far from single slot finality. So well, we see one block reorgs, I guess, a few times a week. So I think there are plenty of transactions where the risk is limited, or again, kind of this arbitrage example. Worst case, you lost, you kind of did the wrong arbitrage, but I mean, I'd say currently with 99% likelihood, or greater 99.9% likelihood, you can assume that the block, that as soon as it was proposed, it will also be the correct block, and that's already quite useful thing.
That's a heuristic that can change, and depending on, for example,
Sure.
an attack on the network. So I wouldn't count on that.
Well, I mean, it really depends on what your application is. So for sure, if you need this guarantee long term, I agree, you shouldn't count on it. But if you're a trader, you want to change in real time, and you can change your strategy anytime. And right now, a proposed block will give you a very high guarantee that this will also be the actual block. So of course, people are acting on that. Anyhow, again, not really actionable, but I mean, even kind of just as guaranteed to have always one block in between Ethereum, even that is I think if I could go back in time, I would certainly have picked 6 instead of 5.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, no, then let's see you. See you next week, and I'll ping a few of you on Tuesday.
Cool. Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.